Rural Nebraska, 3 a.m. A 67-year-old farmer wakes up to a strange, distant ringing. He walks out into his cornfield, follows the sound, and shines his flashlight down. There, buried in the dirt, is a cracked cell phone. He picks it up, and a slow, distorted voice delivers a warning. You are the 47th person to find this phone. In 3 days, 1,000 phones will ring. Tell no one. He called the police instead. By sunrise, officers were digging up the 40-acre property. They didn't find 47 phones. They found exactly 1,000, all buried, all programmed to ring at different times, and all laid out on tarps to be cataloged by the FBI. The scale of the discovery triggered an immediate federal response. On TikTok, the hashtag #TimeCapsulePhones reached 200 million views in 72 hours. Global news networks began running continuous coverage, debating whether the phones indicated a coordinated attack or a large-scale communication experiment. The event created a massive absence of verified information. Because the authorities couldn't explain why the phones were there, the public began filling that void with their own theories. The FBI eventually traced the phones to a 17-year-old named Jake. He had used $5,000 in birthday money to buy bulk devices on eBay and programmed them as part of a stunt to gain followers. Despite Jake's arrest, one specific device kept the investigation open: the 30-day countdown phone. Jake had recorded so many different audio clips that he no longer remembered what message he had put on that specific device, and by the time he was in custody, someone else had already dug it up. The mechanism Jake built was now running without him. His attempt at a viral trend had moved into the real-world protocols of federal law enforcement and national security. To pull off the stunt, Jake spent months planning. He pre-programmed hundreds of alarms, recorded distinct voices, and mapped out precise GPS coordinates across Nebraska, where he and his friends buried the devices in the dead of night. This triggered crowdsourced paranoia. In this model, you start with isolated, disconnected messages, random jokes, and eerie recordings floating in the public sphere. Millions of people then act as amplifiers, drawing connections between these random data points to create a coherent conspiracy narrative. This explains the initial failure of the authorities. The FBI used its analytical resources to find a logical, terrorist pattern in the data, but they were searching for intent in a system built on random teenage humor. By the time the truth about Jake was released, it didn't matter. The collective narrative built by the internet had already replaced the actual facts of the case. Jake remained in his bedroom, facing potential federal charges and paralyzed by the scale of the reaction. He stayed silent as the mystery he started continued to dominate the news. Meanwhile, the anonymous stranger who possessed the 30-day phone realized they held the one piece of evidence the FBI and millions of viewers were most desperate to see. This person ignored the FBI's $10,000, showing the screen ticking down to 25 days to keep the public focused on the device. Jake eventually tried to end the game himself, sneaking out at night to the cornfield to search for the phone. But with the original grid disturbed by the police and the public, he couldn't find anything. The narrative had been taken from the person who created it. The power to dictate what happened next had shifted entirely to the anonymous crowd. The situation changed on day 15, at the peak of the global countdown obsession and media coverage. Reports began coming in of new phones ringing. They were found in completely different locations, including a snowy urban park hundreds of miles away. These new devices contained messages that were significantly darker and more specific than the ones Jake had recorded. Jake was still under house arrest and had no connection to these new devices. A copycat had taken his original blueprint and was using it to start a new, more aggressive wave of panic. This is the model of decentralized panic. A single event, the origin, splinters into independent clusters, each operated by different actors who are no longer connected to the person who started it. In just 15 days, a localized prank was adopted, modified, and redeployed by total strangers. The core idea didn't just spread, it mutated, becoming more dangerous as it was iterated upon by different people. Jake's desire for followers had provided a framework for causing disruption. Once the method was public, it could be used by anyone for any purpose. When a mystery is injected into a digital space, the creator loses the ability to dictate how that mystery is used or where it ends. A creator can strike the match that starts the fire, but they have no control over what the crowd chooses to burn. On day 14, the countdown hit a breaking point. At exactly 3 a.m., buried phones across 12 different states began to vibrate and ring in the dirt simultaneously. The messages were no longer harmless ghost stories. Those who answered their phones heard highly specific threats, with callers reciting home addresses and naming individual family members. The real-world reaction was immediate. Families abandoned their homes in the middle of the night, while local politicians mentioned in the recordings began hiring private security teams. When one recording targeted a local high school with a specific date and time, the district responded by shuttering the campus and suspending all classes. Local law enforcement couldn't keep up with the sheer volume of untraceable burner phones turning up in public and private spaces. The scale of the coordination forced the FBI to take over, declaring the situation a nationwide threat. This coordinated campaign of domestic terror had successfully paralyzed the Midwest, fueled by an anonymous network that seemed to be everywhere at once. Federal agents moved quickly on their primary suspect, Jake, the 17-year-old creator of the original trend. But a 6-hour interrogation and a deep forensic sweep of his devices hit a dead end. Jake had no connection to the new, threatening messages, digital or otherwise. Someone had hijacked Jake's idea and escalated it into something he couldn't control. And more importantly, this unknown person was now the one holding the original countdown phone. The investigation eventually led to Ethan, a 24-year-old living in Des Moines, Iowa. This map shows Ethan's logistics. He bought burner phones in bulk, using his basement as a central hub to record menacing audio files. To bypass detection, he recruited couriers to drive across state lines, burying devices in targeted locations. The FBI arrested Ethan on day 5 of his campaign. He was later sentenced to 15 years in federal prison for cyberstalking and making terrorist threats. Jake, meanwhile, saw his life fall apart. Despite his innocence, the internet had already labeled him a domestic threat, forcing him to disappear from public life. The time capsule didn't belong to Jake anymore. Ethan took the concept and pushed it further, showing how easily a digital trend can be weaponized by anyone with enough resources and intent. Ethan's motive wasn't financial. During his sentencing, he described the widespread panic he caused as a form of art, a way to make the entire country feel the same fear at the same time. When agents searched Ethan's basement, they found the ultimate piece of evidence, Jake's original countdown phone. The FBI refused to release the audio from that phone. They classified the transcript, citing the sensitivity of the information and potential for public distress. The silence from authorities fueled rumors, until a dark web leak claimed the final message was a single, chilling sentence: "I'll be watching, always watching." This classified message became a modern legend. The government's attempt to bury the evidence only made the mystery more persistent, turning the countdown into a permanent fixture of internet lore. When the countdown finally hit day 0, the world waited for a final act. But nothing happened. No attacks, no leaks, no resolution, just total silence. By 2026, the panic had faded, but the physical remnants of the event stayed behind. Farmers in the Midwest still find them. Every spring, when the plows turn the soil, they unearth smartphones that have been buried for years, their screens sometimes glowing one last time before the battery dies. The legal cases are closed and the perpetrators are in prison, but the physical footprint of the trend has become a permanent part of the landscape. Jake now lives a quiet life working at a gas station, far away from the internet. Ethan remains in his cell, still unrepentant. But the phones are still there. Somewhere in a forgotten drawer or a field in Nebraska, a device is waiting for a signal. This diagram tracks how a single idea replicates and changes as it moves across the grid. Much like the phones in the dirt, these digital traces don't just disappear once the original creator walks away. The countdown may have ended years ago, but the project is still out there. Because on the internet, things don't stay buried for long. Eventually, someone will dig it up, and someone will answer.